KCAA. NBC News on KCAA Loma Linda, sponsored by Teamsters Local 1932, protecting the future of working families. Teamsters1932.org.
President Trump is signing an executive order creating a 2028 Olympics task force. Tammy Trujillo has details.
Will oversee the Summer Games being held in Los Angeles.
Will sign an executive order establishing the White House task force on the 2028 Summer Olympics, mobilizing the entire federal government to ensure the Games are safe, seamless, and historically successful. It's going to be amazing.
The task force will handle some security, transportation, visa processing, and have other duties. Trump said the world will see what the U.S. does best in 2028, adding Los Angeles is a great venue.
More homeowners are starting to pull their properties off the market as would-be buyers push back on higher home costs. According to Realtor.com, the rate of delisted homes increased by 47% nationwide in May when compared to last year. Experts say the delisting surge is partly due to the overall expansion in active inventory. Home inventory hit a new post-pandemic high, and sellers aren't in as much of a rush to accept lower than their desired amount. Officials at a zoo in Denmark are asking for unwanted pets as donations to help feed their enclosed predators. Staffers say the practice mirrors the natural food chain. Donated pets, such as healthy horses, chickens, and other small animals, will be gently euthanized before feeding time. The request was posted on Facebook last Thursday. A giant super yacht seized by U.S. authorities from a Russian oligarch is going up for auction. The 348-foot luxury yacht boasts a pool, a gym, a helipad, a jacuzzi, a spa, a beauty salon, and 8 guest rooms. Amadea Auction House says the yacht was seized off the coast of Fiji in 2022 from a Russian businessman who was a close ally of Vladimir Putin and had been sanctioned by the U.S. The super yacht has been valued at over $300 million. Sealed bids are being accepted until September 10th at AmadeaAuction.com and require a $10 million deposit. I'm Chris Coraggio, NBC News Radio.
Located in the heart of San Bernardino, California, the Teamsters Local 1932 Training Center is designed to train workers for high-demand, good-paying jobs in various industries throughout the Inland Empire. If you want a pathway to a high-paying job and the respect that comes with a union contract, visit 1932trainingscenter.org to enroll today. That's 1932trainingscenter.org.
You've eaten lots of great food and not so great food at restaurants. Cowboy Burgers in Fontana and now in Arlington and Riverside will fast become one of your favorites with their delicious, mouth-watering burgers and breakfast burritos. Cowboy Burgers and Barbecue also serves fantastic smoked barbecue baby back ribs, tri-tip, chicken, pulled pork sandwiches, as well as lunch and dinner plates. Everything is made from scratch, including their delicious side dishes like coleslaw, potato salad, barbecue beans, and much, much more. Check out their rich, decadent chocolate brownies.
Hi, I'm food critic Alan Borgen, and you can dine in, take food out, or have them cater your next special event. I highly recommend Cowboy Burgers and Barbecue at their new location at 5573 Arlington Avenue in Riverside. Just look them up on the internet. That's Cowboy Burgers and Barbecue. Happy eating.
And perfect for the holidays, Cowboy Burgers and Barbecue is also available for catering. That's Cowboy Burgers and Barbecue in Fontana and now in Riverside on Arlington.
Tahibo Tea Club's original Pure Pouty Arco Super Tea comes from the only tree in the world that fungus does not grow on. As a result, it naturally has antifungal, anti-infection, antiviral, antibacterial, anti-inflammation, and anti-parasite properties. So the tea is great for healthy people because it helps build the immune system, and it can truly be miraculous for someone fighting a potentially life-threatening disease due to an infection, diabetes, or cancer. The tea is also organic and naturally caffeine-free. A 1-pound package of tea is $49.95, which includes shipping. To order, please visit TahiboTeaClub.com. Tahibo is spelled T like Tom, A-H-E-E-B like boy, O, then continue with the word tea and then the word club. The complete website is TahiboTeaClub.com or call us at 818-610-8088, Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. California time. That's 818-610-8088, TahiboTeaClub.com.
This segment of programming sponsored by Cybertime Network Communications. How's your internet? Slower than what you were paying for? Feeling boxed in with the high cost of the internet? It can be frustrating and expensive, and with net neutrality coming, it's not getting any easier. Ready for a better high-speed internet service? And you're ready for Cybertime. And they're local and right in your own backyard. Cybertime provides connectivity for all our transmissions you're listening to at KCAA. Cybertime is locally owned and will respond to your needs with the best service. It's crisp, cool, fast, and sleek. Cybertime uses the latest, leading-edge microwave technology to be able to offer clients a safe, reliable, public or private network that fits almost any budget size. Numerous local city agencies rely on Cybertime's microwave private network for their most critical mission applications. You should too. Get connected, stay connected, get smart, get Cybertime. You can Google, text, or call Cybertime Network Communications at 909-795-9559. Cybertime Network Communications in Calamasa.
Not sure how much you know about Progressive Insurance. You may know us for insuring your home and auto. You may know a couple of our commercials. But what you may not know is that since 2013, Progressive has been honoring veterans with vehicle donations through the annual Keys to Progress Veteran Vehicle Giveaway Program, giving back to those who gave so much. Now, you probably didn't wake up today saying, I really wish I knew more about Progressive Insurance, but this seemed like the type of thing people wouldn't mind hearing about. Find out more about how we're dedicated to our customers and communities at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Welcome to the Worker Power Hour with Randy Corrigan, a brand new show about labor and worker issues. The host of the show is Randy Corrigan, Secretary Treasurer and Principal Office and leader of Teamsters 1932, one of the largest public sector labor unions on the West Coast, representing workers in government and non-sworn law enforcement personnel. Randy Corrigan is a 30-year Teamster who first became involved in the labor movement by volunteering his time as an organizer with the Teamsters Union at the age of 21. Since then, he's helped thousands organize, mobilize, and achieve bargaining rights. He accomplished this by spending countless hours with brave men and women all over Southern California, in their living rooms, on the picket line, to bring workers towards victory. This is the Worker Power Hour. And now here's the host of the show, Randy Corrigan.
We're back. Randy Corrigan here. Worker Power Hour. Long-time organizer, first-time radio host. This is the Worker Power Hour with Randy Corrigan on the Teamsters Local 1932 Broadcast Network. Glad to have you back. Sorry I missed last week. I had to be in Chicago for meetings with a lot of people all over the country, and I won't bore all of you with the details. It was very productive, and sometimes, I got to go somewhere, and that's what we had to do in Chicago. And I had the privilege of actually meeting with a very large group of Amazon workers in the Chicagoland area. And it was very inspirational to be with that group, talk to them about their next steps, as well as explain to them how they inspired millions of other workers to do things all over the country last year. So sorry I missed last week. It happens. But we're here, and we're here live from San Bernardino this week. I'm going to start off this show by reading something that came into our email, the radio show at teamsters1932.org. Again, radio show at teamsters1932.org. This email that came in made such an impact on many of us, as well as it made an impact. Actually, when I received it, I was with a group of other people that I felt needed to be inspired to. I don't know if they needed to be inspired, but they were definitely inspired by this. And we obviously got Jenny Hernandez's permission to read it. And she's our member. She is a nurse manager, and we represent her. And Jenny, what an amazing email. And I'm going to read it. I think all of you listeners are going to be just absolutely impacted by this. And this shows us that what we're doing is the right thing. It really, really does. Dear Randy, I had the opportunity to listen to the radio show on July 23rd, 2025, and I want to express my deep gratitude for the powerful segment on farm workers. As a third-generation Mexican-American whose family history spans the transition of California from Mexico to the United States, your words resonated profoundly with me. My grandmother was a farm worker who traveled between Central and Southern California, harvesting oranges, grapes, and olives, with her children always by her side. Her story, like so many others, includes the pain of being denied an education, punished for speaking Spanish or our indigenous languages, and shamed for bringing burritos to school. During the last mass deportation, my great-grandfather, who belonged to a Native American tribe and spoke a native dialect, sought refuge on a reservation. My grandmother told us how, at that time, anyone with brown skin was being deported, regardless of where they were born. I owe my very existence and education to his courage in protecting and hiding our family. These are just fragments of my family's story, but your reflections brought these memories rushing back. I have never felt prouder to be part of a community, Teamsters 1932, that honors and advocates for farm workers. I came from that lineage, and through perseverance, have earned a master's in nursing, an associate degree in electronics, a bachelor's in robotics, and a certification as a legal nurse consultant. What I'm witnessing today, coalitions uniting to protect immigrants and challenge injustice, gives me hope. Your broadcast was not just a tribute, but a powerful recognition of history too often erased. Thank you, Randy, for using your platform to uplift our stories. Hearing those truths spoken aloud touched by my heart and soul. I am certain even my ancestors acknowledge your voice from the other side. With deep appreciation, Jenny Hernandez, San Bernardino County Department of Public Health. Jenny, thank you very much for sending that. When we I'm getting goosebumps right now. When we read things like this, it tells us we're absolutely on the right path when it comes to the programming, the guests, the subjects that we talk about. We don't get into these political footballs of kicking back and forth. We don't even get into sometimes arguing over policy. What we get into is explaining how decisions of these policymakers are impacting workers, how they impact the workforce, and then what we can do about it and how we make sure that our members and their families can either advance a better policy or vote for people or hold them accountable. Maybe there's people that you voted for that are doing things you don't agree with, and it's time you reach out to them and hold them accountable. So again, thank you for sending that in, and it was very impactful to our team, very impactful to myself personally, and it's one of those reminders of this is why we do this. This is why we have a mic in front of us. This is why we're bringing the message. We're bringing the movement to the mic. This is why we do the radio show and we're doing the podcast and we're pushing this message out. As we want to make sure that more and more people, workers, community leaders understand and respect how powerful the voice of the people are and how powerful the voice of workers are. And we believe that this is a platform and a tool to do exactly that. So thank you, Jenny. Again, really, really appreciate it. And, if you've been impacted by the show like that, if you really enjoy something, we want to hear from you. I mean, I guess if you don't like something, we want to hear that too. I'll be pretty honest with you. I mean, I'd rather hear the positive, but hey, if you really think I'm off base on something, feel free to send it to radioshow@teamsters1932.org. Feel free to let us know. Let's just be respectful when we have a conversation. It's okay to have differences. What's important is for us to try to find solutions. Let's try to find solutions in difficult times and move people into a great space. And, we were really proud of that segment of pointing out that what's happened to certain cultures in like these 20, 25 year cycles. And, it's at a certain point, workers have got to push back. Workers have got to rise up. Workers have got to withhold their labor. And they got to say, hey, corporate America, you're not going to be in control of my country. This is a country that should be run by the people, for the people, and it should be in the people's best interest, not corporate America's best interest. And so with that, I'm going to move right into live shout outs. And the first live shout out I want to read actually came from a pretty cool space. It was a reference to, hey, good morning, Teamsters. Early morning shout out to all the Teamsters spending time with their family, listening to the Teamsters 1932 radio station. Awesome playlist. So thank you for sending that in. And thank you for listening in on our new the Worker Power Radio Network and the Worker Power Radio that we have, where you can listen to music, you can get some little updates, a little bit of news, and there is a lot of people that are listening, and I'm getting a lot of positive feedback from it, and we believe that is going to be a very powerful platform in the future. We've got lots of great ideas to make something happen there. And so with that, we get into the live shout-outs. Live shout-outs being Lupe Della Torre and Deborah Martinez from Redlands TAD, Kiran Gula Sands from SCS, West Valley Detention Center, Letitia Allen from Public Health, Olin Pananugua, Janine Hammer, Public Health. We also have, Gina, I think it's Gina Hammer. She is a cancer survivor. So congratulations to you. Dan and Barbara Shearer from Orange, Linda and Bill Wassam, retirees. We also have Sandy Cabrera, Aldar Fuentes from ARMC, and Charmaine Barno from HVP. We have Holly Edison. Hey, Holly, hope you're doing well. Retiree from our nurse manager unit. She helped at ARMC today, I guess. Michael Aragon from CFS. Nicole Burlex from ARMC. Chaz Kelly. Olivia Gabara. Abigail Ferris. Krista Kunter. And Amanda Montoya, all from ARMC. We have Kurt Garrison from the Sheriff's Crime Lab, Susan Loftus from Sheriff's Crime Analyst, Connie Bottini from Rialto Library, Damini Travis from Register of Voters, Lisa and Anita from ARMC Rehab, Kathy Bernal all the way out in the city of Needles, and we have Patricia Gunderson. We have a shout out for her. Good to see you're listening, Patricia. Amy Shackelford from DOS. I actually texted her last time I did a live show and asked, hey, how come you're not listening? Anyway, Tina Morgan and Lonnie Garcia from TAD and the Chino Bargaining Unit. Kim from Rialto, Freddie, Adriana, Terry from Rialto, myself from CFS, Allison from CFS. Hey, need to get some last names on here, Abe, by the way. Andrea from Fontana, Danielle from Fontana, Lauren from Fontana. Maybe people aren't giving me last names because I'm mispronouncing them. I don't know, We also have James Estrada from the city of Redlands, Warren Pennington and Kyle Monsoon from Desert Water Agency, and Christine Montoya from the city of Hesperia. Thanks for listening in live. And we got a special treat for those of you that listen in live. If you're listening in live, we're actually, where's that sweater? We're going to do a fifth caller. If the fifth caller that got taken, well, what the heck? Anyway, from this point on, right now, 909-889-8377. 909-889-8377. The fifth caller to the front desk here at the building will get a free sweater. We'll make sure that we send you that sweater, or you can come in and pick it up. It's a Union Proud sweater. And so we're going to have a little bit of fun with some of the live. For those of you that are listening in live, we want to reward you for listening in live and encouraging others to listen in live. And so with that, I move on to the next part of the show, which is some fun facts and some highlights. The first job that we're going to highlight is our Confire group, Confire Dispatch. They dispatch fire and medical services to over 15 agencies, including Apple Valley, Big Bear, Chino Valley, City of Colton, Loma Linda, Montclair, Ontario, Rancho Cucamonga, Redlands, Rialto, Running Springs, San Bernardino County, San Manuel, and Victorville. One of the positions in that group is Information Systems Analysts, and they manage the network for the entire Confire system, which includes numerous 911 lines and non-emergency lines. The system consists of 2 dispatch centers, one in Rialto, known for the Valley Communication Center, and one inside the Hesperia Government Center, known as the Desert Communication Center. When dispatch receives a call for service, the dispatcher inputs the call into a computer and it sends the information to the appropriate fire station, resulting in an audible alarm announcing the location and the type of aid that's needed. Most network issues can be handled via a computer, but occasionally the analyst must need to work on the cable system themselves. Or the system itself. And then we also have emergency communication dispatchers. Dispatchers answer emergency and non-emergency calls for medical and fire services. They assess each call to determine the nature of the emergency and input the call for service into the computer-aided dispatch that's a CAD system, which automatically sends the call to the radio dispatcher who then dispatches resources. The CAD system is built to automatically select the appropriate resources needed, fire engines, fire trucks, ambulances, etc., for each call type, such as medical, traffic collision, or structure fire, and so on. So with that, that's a couple of the job classifications, and we really appreciate the work that Teamsters do in Confire. And again, it's another example of, in times of need, it's a Teamster that's there making sure that you're taken care of. And we're also happy to know that they're happy to say and report that they're the newest, some of the newest members here at Teamsters 1932. And something that you all can participate in is, if you don't know, we have Teamster Tuesdays. And would you like to be highlighted on Teamster Tuesday? You can email us at radioshow@teamsters1932.org. Again, if let's say your job, or you got a picture, you want others to know, you want the community to know. You obviously can see we have this really, really big social media following in addition to a big digital footprint. And so, yes, I also missed Beatrice Garcia, Aguilar Garcia. She she said, I'm listening live too. I have Ryan Franking listening in live as well. I always like to make sure I grab them. And with that, the Teamster Tuesday. Every Tuesday, we highlight a member on our social media to show the public the important work our members do. You can follow us at 1932 Teamsters. Very easy, very simple. The last Tuesday, we highlighted Daniel Palafox, who is a building inspector at the city of Fontana, who inspected an entirely new built facility from start to finish. What we like to do is, highlight them and highlight our members and show everybody what they're doing. It's very easy for people out there to say, and matter of fact, there's people who run for office all the time and say, cut my taxes, gut public employees. They're too expensive. They're this, they're that, all the things that you hear. And if the public isn't aware of the things that are done every day in the community and how important these jobs are, it's very easy for someone to whimsically just toss you away. We are experiencing that right now. I actually heard a flight attendant the other day apologizing to someone because we had a bunch of delays on our flight and a bunch of issues. And the flight attendant was like, look, I'm sorry, but there's been a whole bunch of people cut back at the FAA. There's been a whole bunch of air traffic controllers that, have left or been fired, and all these crazy situations that happen. We can't fly until we're cleared. And, we have some staffing issues. So, at the end of the day, we have to be cognizant that our vote, the message and the policy of those that we support, they can't just, if they just are going to throw away certain workforces, we need to make sure everybody knows how important those workforces are. We need to make sure that the reality of that job that's being done for the community every day is got some value to it. So Teamster Tuesday, make sure if you want to be spotlighted, or you know somebody that you should, make sure that you send the email in so that we can get that taken care of, and we'll make sure we get that picture up and do it. And in that note, our fun fact of today is it was an anniversary yesterday, which on August 5th, 1981, Ronald Reagan fired striking air traffic controllers. On August 5th, 1981, President Ronald Reagan fired over 11,000 air traffic controllers who were on strike for better working conditions, pay, and a shorter work week. The strike was led by the Professional Air Traffic Controllers Association, which is called PATCO, and it was declared illegal under a federal law. Reagan gave the workers 48 hours to return to work. When they didn't, he terminated them and banned them from federal service. This historic event marked a turning point in U.S. labor relations, signaling a more aggressive stance against unions and weakening labor power for decades. Yeah, it's very true. And when we get to a point in this country where we don't have the right to exercise our First Amendment right, the freedom of speech, the freedom to assemble, and the freedom to withhold our labor, and then we get punished for it, we got some problems. And so those things need to be rectified. Otherwise, corporate America will always have control. And the reality is we have to always lean into our First Amendment right. The next thing I want to point out as far as like fun facts, this July 30th was the 50th anniversary of the disappearance of James R. Hoffa. And so I just want to read a quick thing that was put out here recently by the General President Wright, Robert. The legendary leader changed the course of history for American workers. Everybody knows, if you listen to this show, you obviously know who James R. Hoffa is. The following is a statement from Teamsters General President Sean M. O'Brien in remembrance of the General President Emeritus James R. Hoffa. James R. Hoffa was a great man and a legendary labor leader who transformed the lives of all Teamsters and Americans. He fought tirelessly for strong wages, benefits, and protections that lifted millions of workers into the middle class. Hoffa was fearless in taking on greedy employers to secure groundbreaking national contracts. He is recognized for turning the Teamsters Union into an international powerhouse, bringing dignity and respect to the working class. This no doubt made him the eventual target of evil forces. For too many years, his death has been the subject of relentless cultural jokes, losing sight of the fact that a family lost a husband, a father, and our nation lost an extraordinary leader. Today and always we remember James R. Hoffa, not for the tragedy of his death, but for his enduring legacy. He was a visionary with remarkable courage and conviction. Couldn't agree more with Sean, with the General President. And, you know, Jimmy Hoffa, really put the Teamster brand and unions and the working class in the front of America. Really, really put it in front of the community, really put it in front of corporate America, and was willing to take it on. And ultimately, he ended up giving his life as a result of that. You know, his life was obviously cut too short. But the reality is the amount of impact that individual made over his tenure is still measured, 50 years later, 50 years after his disappearance. And I know, everybody gets into the butt of jokes over the mob and this and that. And, truth be told, the reason why they whacked him was because he couldn't be controlled by the mob. And he was somebody that the mob was afraid of. That's why they whacked him. They didn't want him back in power. So at the end of the day, regardless of what the movies and these narratives, kind of spill out, I think it's important for us to pay attention to the real work that had been done over decades. And that was putting workers in the middle class, making, quite frankly, driving jobs and warehouse jobs that were at the bottom rung and were not valued at all in the 1920s and 30s, to then middle class jobs to where people could raise a family, they could buy a home, they could make sure their kids went to college if they chose to, and they could be just a really, really good part of that community and be a productive part of the community. So great job in pointing that out, and I'm glad that the issue was raised for us to focus on the positive that is going on. I just want to give you a quick update on Saturday. Save the date. We have August 9th. You can get 5 complimentary tickets. If you want to just go to where do we get this, Mark? For the 66ers, every member can get 5 free tickets.
They just go on the link.
They go on the link. Where do they find the link at? Sorry.
Teamster Advantage app.
The Teamster Advantage app.
Tap here for more info.
Right. And if you haven't done that, you better hurry up and load that, because I don't know why you wouldn't just have the Teamster Advantage app on your phone. You get all these discounts everywhere all over the IE. So anyway, with that, make sure that you utilize that. Our partnership with them creates this beautiful opportunity that a lot of times our members will get 5 free. Each member can get up to 5 free tickets for them attend a game, and that game is on Saturday. And so if you want to make sure that you attend, get your family out.
Isn't there something else on there?
Did I forget something? Oh, yeah, look at that. If you get Hurley, there's a beer bat giveaway. What's a beer bat?
I think it's a bat, like one of those little
like
miniature.
A drink?
Yeah. I don't know, beer bat, something.
What's a beer bat? I missed that. You're right. I should have pointed it out.
I just
Maybe somebody knows
it.
what a beer bat is. I don't know what a beer bat is, but.
Are you getting something?
Oh, we have a winner on the sweater. Yeah, we have a winner. Lori Ryan was the 5th caller. Thank you very much for posting this a few minutes ago. I missed it when it first popped up. So we already had a winner. She was the 5th caller. She gets a sweatshirt. So it worked. I think we're going to do this more often. We're going to have a little fun with it.
Does it mean I have to give the sweatshirt back now?
You're going to give me the thing on a beer bat? I love this. Oh, Robert,
Here,
you're
look
great.
at my phone.
It's a drinking vessel shaped like a baseball bat. Yeah, that's what we thought it was. All right. Yeah, hey, get there. You get 5 of them. You don't just get one. You get there early enough, you're going to get 5 beer bats. And so with that, we got to take a quick break. I'm going to get a guest in here in a few minutes. We're going to be joined by Monet Warren. She is the executive director of the IE Black Worker Center, and we're really excited to have her on the show. And as soon as we come back from break, we will have her in. Just don't forget, this is KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM for when you're listening in. This is the Worker Power Hour with Randy Corgan on the Teamsters 1932 Broadcast Network. Take it away, Mark. We're back. Randy Corgan, Worker Power Hour. We're joined by Monet Warren. Did I pronounce that correctly?
That's correct.
Great. I mispronounced the title, or I misspoke. I make these errors all the time. I'm a longtime organizer, first-time radio host.
Okay.
So guess what? I get to make all kinds of mistakes, and I get to use that as my excuse of being a rookie at this. It's actually I'm a sophomore now.
Okay.
I'm in year 2, but I'm gonna use my rookie status as long as I get away with it. You're the associate director of the IE Black Worker Center, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Great. So really appreciate you coming on the show. Appreciate the work that you do, the advocacy work that you do around the IE. As you know, our local union's very active and very involved in the community and always trying to uplift organizations like yours. So why don't you take a few minutes to introduce yourself and what the IE Black Worker Center does?
Sure. Yeah. So thank you so much for the invitation. Thanks for having us. So I am, like you said, Monet Warren, the Associate Director with the Inland Empire Black Worker Center. You were in your sophomore year. We are in our junior year. We are a relatively new grassroots organization here in the Inland Empire, really just out here advocating on behalf of Black workers for fair worker protections, wages. You were speaking earlier about like being able to purchase a home and send your kids to college. We are out here advocating on behalf of Black workers so that they also have those jobs that have dignity and they're able to provide for themselves and they don't have to work several jobs. Fighting against anti-Blackness in the job market within the Inland Empire. We've been taking a lot of time speaking with Black workers, hearing some of the struggles that they have. And one thing that we have also discovered is a lot of the struggles that Black workers do have are pretty across the board for other marginalized populations. So while we're out here advocating on behalf of Black workers, we're also advocating for any marginalized worker that finds himself in the Inland Empire facing discrimination, wage theft.
Lots of wage theft.
Yes,
Crazy.
lots of wage theft.
It's crazy how much wage theft happens out there. I mean, I'm shocked at it, at how deceptive employers will be with the pay stub to obviously create wage theft.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I'm sorry for interrupting
It's
you.
okay.
So what else? I'm sorry, I cut you off. You were on this roll.
I was on my
I
flow.
jumped in. All right, you were
I don't know where to
flowing.
go now.
Right.
So
You can start over.
yeah, so we're really just out here. As I said, we are still a relatively new organization. So a part of the work that we are doing is still outreach and making sure that folks know that we exist. A lot of education. Black workers, marginalized populations don't always subscribe to mainstream media or traditional ways.
Or know where to go.
Or know where to go to get the information. And so we do something like called the RAP program that's in coordination with the Labor Commissioner's Office, where we are literally teaching community members their workplace protections, making ambassadors out of them so that they can then go into their communities and spread the word, get that information out that they're missing because they don't know where to go, right? They're not going to town halls. They're not listening to the Power Hour.
Or
to get the
training
information.
centers or where job opportunities might be, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So what is what's one of your most rewarding things that you've done doing the job?
Me, myself, or the organization?
Both. I mean, I guess I can ask that in two ways. Like obviously you're drawn to helping others by doing this.
Absolutely.
And so I like for people to tell stories about, success stories of how building your organization out created a pathway ultimately that ended up much better is there something that sticks out to you?
Yeah. So personally, when I started, the organization had been in existence for about 6 months, and they were a mighty staff of 2.5. And it was one of those things where as call to actions or different requests came in, they were like, okay, we'll do this. We'll work on that. We couldn't chew bubble gum and walk at the same time, as our executive director would like to say. So when I came in, I literally created our operations, the strategies, the processes, and gave our organization the bones that it needed to really be able to hire more staff, right? Because you have to build out job descriptions and make it this thing that is really functioning and flowing. And that's my personal thing that I'm most proud of. I think for the organization, I definitely would say, so we've spent a lot of time in Sacramento, especially this year. I was reflecting on that. I think I've been to the Capitol more than I've gone to visit my mother. I've been up there really advocating.
That'll tell you something. Right.
And it's not just for Black workers. We've been up there for different wage protections, different for teachers, and different worker protections that don't just impact Black workers. And recently, we even went to the Clean Car Wash out in Culver City to stand with the workers who were kidnapped from the car wash. And so really being able to stand in solidarity with other organizations who are doing this work, really showing up, because they know if you want us to sign on, we will show up, turn up, tear the place up, and really advocate on behalf of the populations that other orgs serve. And so I think us being mission focused, right? Black workers are our focus, but being able to stand up and show up for other marginalized communities is probably one of our greatest things that we have done.
I love how you keep hitting the point of it's not just for Black workers. It's building the coalitions for others. And that list is long.
Absolutely.
We do live in America where, I love my country, but we've been guilty of some bad stuff.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
And we also seem to have amnesia on a regular basis, and we don't know how to kind of admit to our mistakes and just try to do better. Mm-hmm. And I think the biggest thing our country misses right now on a large scale is empathy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is empathy. And the reason I'm drilling down on this is that the fact that you're pointing out that you're working with other groups, it's not just about isolating for your issues or your interests, because the power comes from having that diversity, is not being just about Black workers.
Absolutely.
It's also being about, in a lot of cases, all workers.
Absolutely.
And then, obviously Latino workers, they're with the deportation stuff that's going on ICE raids. that workforce is literally working under fear right now, even those that are legally in this country.
Yeah.
So by building relationships with them, you're able to accomplish the goals of your organization.
Yeah, absolutely. No one organization is going to be able to do it by themselves. We have to be a part of these coalition, active members of these coalitions, right? Not just joining arms for the sake of a picture, right? Because we've been invited to things just to have the Black representation.
Yeah.
So it's really important that you are really active participants and you care for those people like you do the ones that you are on the front lines for, serving in your own organizations. Like, I don't have in my own family anyone who is in this country illegally, right? But as a human who cares about other humans, going to a car wash and listening to a woman talk about how her husband went to work that day and still they hadn't heard from him, hadn't been,
And they don't know where he's at.
don't know where he's at. As a human, that's my responsibility. I'm not a Latina, right? I'm not as intimately linked to it, but that is my responsibility.
You're empathizing.
Yeah, because it's them today, but it could be us tomorrow. And I think that that's a really good approach that we should all kind of be taking, that where there's power in numbers, right? And if we, as marginalized communities facing these different discriminations, band together and really try to push legislation, change rules, change laws, then that's really where the real power and the real magic is going to come from.
And it's about education too. I feel like, especially, an organization that centers its work around, like the Black Worker Center, right? That as being a white guy, right? Like, right. Look, obviously, if you're on the radio, I'm sure whoever's listening probably knows what I am. But the point to it is one of the things that labor taught me was how to be empathetic to these situations and circumstances. That there are a lot of people, a lot of elected officials that don't want us to be empathetic, that kind of divide us. But looking back at history and recognizing how corporate America's gained control, the exploitation of an individual group, class, whatever we call it, right, has always been for some profit.
Yeah.
Like there's whatever it was done for. Originally, it was for slavery to own, to literally own. And we look back and scratch our head and go, how did anybody? Why was that allowed?
Yeah.
And then, another 100 years later, you heard that correctly, 100 years. So as white people, as anybody in America, no matter what color you are, no matter what race you are, you have to empathize that there's this cycle that's happened. And there are consequences to that cycle, right? There's long-term generational consequences and effects of that. And anybody who denies that or then says, well, a Black center shouldn't have their own this and that.
Yep.
You're wrong.
Yeah.
Like, they're completely wrong.
Yep.
Like unions were always born out of building equality and making sure that when those are being treated differently or being marginalized, like you said, union contracts were the first place that colorblindness went away, and also, gender went away because you're getting paid X amount for the job, period.
Yep.
Regardless of your color, regardless of your gender or whatever it may be. My point for bringing it all up is that unfortunately, we got to do a lot more education of this again in this country. We got to get people a little more empathetic to recognizing, what's gone on in 249 years. And, I notice whenever I have those conversations with individuals that are ignorant, I don't mean it to criticize, I mean their lack of information. When you explain history, it's like, that's why it's here.
Yeah.
So don't get mad about it. Like, work together and try to solve problems.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm sorry for rattling on. I just really believe in the work that you're doing, and I know as a labor union, we love to embrace this space because we learn a lot from it too.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate what you were saying about people have amnesia and they forget about the effects, right? And you mentioned people saying, well, why a Black Worker Center? And just the fact that I kept on prefacing my sentence with, we do support other workers. As a Black woman supporting Black workers, I feel that I have to explain why there is
because
a
the narrative's
need.
been beaten up on you.
Exactly. And I think that
That's wrong.
To make it more personal, when I moved back to the Inland Empire, I went up to UC Berkeley for grad school, back to Cal State Long Beach UC Berkeley undergrad, Cal State Long Beach, grad school, went to Virginia, worked, came back. And when I was trying to get a job in the Inland Empire with all of my fancy degrees and years of experience, I ended up working at Amazon. No shade to Amazon, but I couldn't.
Oh, we'll throw shade on to Amazon. What you talking about? Man, like we have shows specifically dealing with Amazon's exploitation of workers.
Okay.
Anyway.
No, let me correct myself. No shade to folks who find themselves working at Amazon right now.
They're
Let me
just
correct
working.
myself.
They're just trying to find work.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
But I
Good
was
point.
unable to find work, and that is what I qualified for as a Black worker here in the Inland Empire. And I faced a lot of discrimination. And I may have been a little bit guilty of believing some of this narratives of like, well, are Black people, Black workers, some of them, are they qualified? Are they interviewing? I may have bought into that. I don't know, but I came
sometimes
back and
sometimes the pressures, the narratives that are
Sure.
created, sometimes make us actually second guess the good work that gets done. You're
Yeah.
like, because you're looking at it going, how is that? How are people believing that? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, but I think that experience gave me the intimate connection to what it's like to be a Black person trying to find a job in the Inland Empire. And that is why it is really important that we are educating Black workers also, not of just workplace protections, but how to talk about this part of their narrative so that people are willing to listen.
So let's shift gears here a little
Okay.
bit. I think we've both done a good job of pounding that message, right? Talk about the mechanism of the Black Worker Center. In other words, like, what does a worker go through? Like somebody listening in, and I just want to quickly point out, we do have people listening in live from Scotland right now. We do have an international audience too. So anyway, so I just, whenever I get these live shout outs, I always want to point out that they're from anyway.
Hey, Scotland.
Yeah. What's the mechanism?
What do you mean? Explain, say more.
I'm a Black worker in the IE. I'm not, but if I was, right, then I contact who, what resources that connect me to, and then what are the steps that then get me into a better job or help me improve the conditions at my job or connect me to resources to make my job better, or the wage theft thing. You know, what are the mechanisms of the resources in which those individuals are experiencing?
Sure. Okay. So yeah, there's a lot of different things and a lot of different touch points. So if you are just an average Black worker listening in, or just a Black worker ally, you can contact any one of our emails that are posted on our website, iebwc.org. We do have like an initial intake information tab down at the bottom where you can reach out to one of us. We typically, once it comes in, it gets filtered through our outreach program to make sure it gets to the right person. And if it is something like if you're experiencing workplace discrimination or a wage theft claim, we would then reach out to our IE representatives to make that introduction and say, we have this. We do a little bit of, I want to say like reviewing what the claim is, just to make sure that we're not abusing that relationship, that we are sending what we believe to be legitimate claims.
Right.
So that is one way. We do have membership, and so you can join the membership, and that really just ties you to the boots on the ground work. So if you are interested in going with us to the Capitol, if you're interested in showing up to some of these local call to actions, to the town halls and stuff like that, you can be involved that way as well. It just really depends on what the worker needs.
Have you had a recent victory in the wage theft stuff? I know at Amazon, speaking of Amazon, we just had one where it's over 100,000 and growing for a group of workers that third break was missing, or they were not notified of their eligibility for a third break, and they were working over that 10th hour, and this was happening on a massive scale.
Wow.
And so that ultimately that ticket's probably going to run up to significant hundreds of thousands of dollars, and actually throughout the entire state of California. It started right here at KSBD down the street here. It's
That's
funny.
where I used to work.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. It's funny. Amazon came out and said, the Teamsters had nothing to do with it, and we're like, oh, okay, right. Amazon, you certainly didn't notify anybody of what was going on. They have now made a correction in the system for someone to make a claim that they can actually, it's easier for them to get it. I was just giving you an example of something, because we obviously work in this space,
Sure.
Succinctly. Give me an example of a situation like that you guys have worked on.
Yeah, so for right now, we have to be okay with the fact that because we are so young and because these different claims take so long to process, and they're just up until this year, there's a backlog of these different cases, and so some of them aren't being
with
heard.
the DLSE,
with the
Department of Labor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So we.
I forget the SE right now off the top of my head. My bad.
So we have, through our RAP program, the workplace
Ambassador program.
Ambassador project. Yes. We have given that education to a number of Black workers who have experienced different things on their job and we've equipped them with the knowledge to go back and challenge their employers when appropriate. We have assisted 5 employers to date with getting a wage theft claim. They've all unfortunately been wage theft, and so we are still awaiting the
final results.
Of that. Yeah.
Oh, good. So what else? What do you have any other programs or resources specifically you'd like to highlight or talk about here on the show? We got about 10 minutes. Actually, about 9 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. So the RAP program that I was just speaking about is actually going to be kicking off. We are going to be doing the second iteration that will begin on October 2nd. It's a 6-week certification program and 7 weeks because we do a virtual graduation as well. And that the signups are going to be opening this month for that. And so we invite all community members to come and be a part of that. We recently had some strategic planning with the organization and an outside contractor, and we have created 6 priority areas, strategy areas that we are leaning into, and we are hosting a partner mixer next Friday, August 15th, here at the Doubletree Hotel at the Cutting Board, inviting folks to come in.
That's here in San Bernardino off of
Waterman.
Waterman and Hospitality, right?
Yes, exactly, right off the freeway. And we are going to have it set up to where folks can hear about the work that we're doing and really sign on to partner in whatever area, one of the 6 areas that they feel called to. So if that's policy and advocacy, if that's outreach, workforce development, that is one of the things that we have coming up right now. Membership is open, and we are still encouraging folks to come join the movement, get connected.
Well, it sounds like a lot of good work and a lot of good stuff.
Yes.
I really appreciate the partnership and the relationship and the advocacy in a space that not a lot of people occupy, right?
Sure.
And I think that's one of the things that kind of drive most of us that are in this space is we recognize that corporate America has plenty of advocates,
Yep.
right? And then they just write a check when they need more. Workers, regardless of what category they're in, they need a lot of advocacy.
Yeah.
And it's funny because these corporations always try to message it as that, well, you don't want anybody to get between me as a corporation and you as an employee. It's like, actually, yes, I do. I feel a little outnumbered, man.
Yeah.
I think it's crazy that sometimes people actually fall into this trap. No, I want that relationship to where I'm the only person who can advocate for myself with this large corporation, this massive corporation. No, it's okay to have advocacy. It's
that
not
comes
a bad
at worker
thing.
education, right?
Correct.
Because
Worker
I think
education.
that
Because they're not getting that education in school right now.
Yeah, and we recently went to a training where they're saying that is intentionally not being taught, right? You have to ask to go to the restroom. You have to ask for permission. We are not, our K-12 system is not necessarily teaching independent thought, how to advocate for yourself, and especially if you are a person of color, you admitted to being white male, and that I think speaks to wanting to, you sometimes have that ability to go and advocate for yourself, but a worker who has been marginalized, has been seen.
Sometimes they don't have the confidence.
They don't.
Right.
They don't. They absolutely
with good
don't.
reason.
Yeah, and so that speaks to we need advocates out there. We need that education so workers know no, you actually have a lot more power than you think that you do.
And you have more power when you come together collectively.
100%.
And especially if corporate America's kind of got this narrative to break us all up in little pockets, right? Have white people not like black people and have black people not like Latino and and so on and so forth. This is an age-old thing that's gone on. Corporate America has always tried to divide the workers, because in the end we have the power.
Absolutely.
And we can shut things down. We have the ability to bring commerce to a complete halt.
Yep.
We just choose not to exercise it.
Yeah.
And what my hope is that the more organizations we partner with like yours, the more advocacy, the more connections that we make when we educate more workers on understanding that they do have the right to withhold their labor.
Yeah.
They do have the right to advocate. They do have a right to have advocacy, not just advocate for themselves, but also have advocacy. And these are all good things to have, not
absolutely.
bad things. Like, let's not demonize organizations like this. Let's encourage it in a way where we figure out ways to work together.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So what do you have to close on? Is there anything you'd like to close on?
Yeah, so just come see what we're about. Come to our partner mixer. Let's do this work.
What's that date and time again?
It is August 15th from 5 to 8 at the cutting board inside of the Doubletree San Bernardino.
If you're looking to connect to the organization, looking to help out, you just heard it from Monet herself on what you can do. She is the Associate Director of the IE Black Worker Center here in the Inland Empire. Really appreciate the work that you're doing and all that you bring to the table and the energy you're doing. I heard that you were a little nervous. Like, you're doing fine. I get this all the time on the show. Like, people say, "Oh, I don't know if I want to go on. I'm a little nervous." I'm like, I got this, man. I've been organizing for years, like for 3 decades.
Yeah.
And if I can sit in any worker's living room and have a conversation with them and ask a couple questions, we're going to be just fine.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. You just ask a couple questions, you kind of get rolling, and then get to tell your story. And that's what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Like, what Teamsters 1932 is trying to do with worker power, with the message worker power. You see our billboards. You see all the things that we're doing. We're trying to build that confidence of workers in the IE.
Yeah.
I grew up in this area, and I have seen how corporate America has just feasted on the Inland Empire. They have built massive operations, massive warehouses, and they have exploited millions of people in the process.
Yep.
They've gotten billions of tax dollars out of the economy, which they didn't even need, number one. Number two, they pulled them out, which were resources for everybody else, which are less wages. And you see this exploitation on this massive scale of millions of people in the IE, which is 4 million, population. So, to have someone like you in this space, we really appreciate that. It's for me, it's kind of a way of life.
Yeah.
And really appreciate your advocacy out there. And hopefully we can just keep chipping away at this and doing more and more education where we get more and more workers to understand their power, because someday, corporate America is going to go too far.
Yeah.
And workers are just going to say, we're not going to work, man.
Yeah.
Like, we're not. We are. Yep. I can't repeat that on the air. They're just going to say, shut it down.
Yeah.
And because this is what I'm hoping for one day is that workers pick an area and they say, within this geographical area, no one's going to work.
Yeah.
We're not going to do a big rally. What we're going to do is it's going to be nobody's there. Right? Like, it's going to be eerie. I've always believed that silent protests are so much more powerful. If you look back in time, the civil rights movement taught us how powerful silent protests could be. Like, incredible, walking into a diner, sitting down, being quiet, occupying the space of a city government building, and everybody, not ruckusing, not yelling or doing it, just quiet. Like, it really sends a message of discipline, number one, and number two, that we mean business, and it's time for you to wake up and pay attention. So 60 seconds. You want to say anything before I wrap this first half hour up?
Well, thank you for having us. Thank you for the work that you all are doing. Thank you for uplifting the workers, giving us the opportunity to uplift Black worker stories. Just come get involved. Come see what we're about. Come join us. We want all involved.
Was weird.
Happening. You heard it in your ear too.
What, you got a ghost over there?
Yeah, did you hear that?
Oh, my mic was off.
Really? That was somebody clearing their throat.
I heard it, but I was trying to pretend like I didn't.
What was?
Oh no, that's where it is. Somebody came on EV Mux. That's what it is. We're all looking around each other, going, "Where did that just pop in?" Anyway, and we only got a minute left, right? So So again, thank you for coming on. Really
Thank you for
appreciate the
having me.
relationship. And worker power for us is all about lifting workers. And any coalition, continued coalition building we could do to lift up those workers, we're going to keep doing it. We're going to keep doing our billboards, buses, radio show.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing this full court press, making sure that the general public absolutely understands the power of the people, the power of workers. And at some point, we're going to actually pull back our work on a massive scale and teach corporate America. This is the Worker Power Hour with Randy Corgan on the 1932 Broadcast Network. Mark, take it away.
KCAA. NBC News on KCAA Loma Linda is sponsored by Teamsters Local 1932, protecting the future of working families. Teamsters1932.org.
NBC News Radio. I'm Chris Coraggio. The 5 soldiers shot at Fort Stewart in Georgia are all in stable condition and expected to recover. That's according to Brigadier General John Lubis, who also identified the shooter as Sergeant Cornelius Radford. Radford was stationed at the base but has not been in combat. Lubis says Radford was subdued by fellow soldiers and is under arrest. He's believed to have used his own personal handgun in the shooting, not an Army-issued weapon. President Trump is set to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Zelensky as soon as next week. That's according to multiple reports. He plans to meet with Putin first and then with both of the leaders together. Trump spoke of his plans to meet with them when talking to European leaders today after a special envoy held a meeting with Putin in Moscow. Trump has been pushing to end the fighting between the two countries and had given Russia until Friday to agree to a ceasefire or he would place sanctions against them. And millions in the southeast are expected to get drenched. More heavy rainfall due to a continued tropical downpour threat could go on for several more days. I'm Chris Coraggio, NBC News Radio.
One of the best ways to build a healthier local economy is by shopping locally. Teamster Advantage is a shop local program started by Teamster Local 1932 that has brought together hundreds of locally owned businesses to provide discounts for residents who make shopping locally their priority. Everything from restaurants like Corky's to fun times at SB Raceway and much, much more. If you're not currently a Teamster and you want access to these local business discounts, contact Jennifer at 909-889-8377, extension 224. Give her a call. That number again is 909-889-8377, extension 224.
How you doing? This is Gary Garver. In today's society, the majority of people are not getting enough sleep. I know I'm not. If you're like me and having problems getting a good night's rest, whether it's health or stress related, I have a solution for you. South Pacific Sleep Lab. South Pacific Sleep Lab will do an evaluation of your sleep pattern and will provide a comprehensive study so you can start getting a restful, peaceful night of sleep. They take all types of insurance, which will cover your cost of the evaluation, and they will even provide transportation to their offices at no cost to you. For more information, contact Tony at 310-999-1887. That's 310-999-1887. Tony even stays awake all night, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so you can sleep better and rest easy. South Pacific Sleep Lab. Start feeling better and getting a great night of sleep today.
For over a century, AM radio has evolved to meet the needs of our community. More than 80 million listeners depend on AM radio each month. It's also the backbone of the emergency alert system, keeping us safe in dangerous times. A new bill in Congress would ensure this free, reliable service remains in cars. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress to support the AM radio for every vehicle act.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
KCAA, where life's much better. So download the app in your smart device today. Listen everywhere and anywhere. Whether you're in Southern California, Texas, or sailing on the Gulf of Mexico, life's a breeze with KCAA. Download the app in your smart device today.
I'll be sailing out of yesterday in the Gulf of Mexico.
KCAA. This report is sponsored by California Baptist University.
We
can't be everything to everyone, or can we? The station that leaves no listener behind, KCAA.
Welcome to the Worker Power Hour with Randy Corrigan, a brand new show about labor and worker issues. The host of the show is Randy Corrigan, Secretary Treasurer and Principal Office and leader of Teamsters 1932, one of the largest public sector labor unions on the West Coast, representing workers in government and non-sworn law enforcement personnel. Randy Corrigan is a 30-year Teamster who first became involved in the labor movement by volunteering his time as an organizer with the Teamsters Union at the age of 21. Since then, he's helped thousands organize, mobilize, and achieve bargaining rights. He accomplished this by spending countless hours with brave men and women all over Southern California, in their living rooms, on the picket line, to bring workers towards victory. This is the Worker Power Hour. And now here's the host of the show, Randy Corrigan.
We're back with the second half of our show. This is the Worker Power Hour with Randy Corrigan on the Teamsters 1932 Broadcast Network, airing live from San Bernardino. And just as a slight adjustment to our show, we have Marco from the San Diego Labor Council. He's a political director on the screen right now. It's not Marco? I'm sorry if I called you the wrong name, my brother. Luca. We have Luca. We're going to get with you in just a minute. I got to finish our Teamster Advantage partner here. And what we have is a Teamster Advantage program where we have more than 1,000 small businesses connected to our network. And we make sure that we bring them on and talk about all the cool stuff that they got going on in their local business. And we encourage our members to shop local. We make sure that hey, not only is there a cool discount, but make sure that you're going to a local proprietor and a small business owner in the area versus, one of these places that is a big corporation that is, obviously taking a lot of money out of the community. And quite frankly, small businesses aren't getting the same breaks that the big corporations are, right? Yet they got to compete in the same market. So we're joined by Bob from 3 Iron Brewery in Colton. And I went to Bloomington High School, which is, obviously right there close to Colton. Love Colton, love the Inland Empire. And, one of the things that we do with this program, the Teamster Advantage program, is we're constantly promoting to our membership to make sure that they utilize the small business network that we've built out. We have an app that they're connected to, and we make sure that we send out regular notifications as well as we bring them on to our show on a regular basis. You talking about this? Yeah. Yeah, I know. See, I got this new...
Play with your toy.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so, fix the thing. I actually moved it earlier. See, this is one of the things about live radio. When you make a mistake, you can't go back and edit it. You just got to roll with it.
Just have fun with it.
You just got to have fun with it, right?
That's the beauty.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. And so, again, Bob from 3 Iron Brewery, why don't you talk about your small business? You've been in existence since 2015, right?
We have.
A little closer to the mic. Just pull.
Yeah, we have, Randy. We're a family-owned business. Been around for 10 years. Just celebrated our 10th anniversary. It's been likened to the Cheers environment. It's in a industrial setting, if you will. We're not on a main street. We're off the beaten path, but we have some unique followers.
That's good. You guys have like a comedy night or something too, right?
We do. We have an open mic on Thursdays. We also have all kinds of events. This week we're trying our hand at a beach party. First ever beach party at 3 Iron.
Are you bringing sand in?
No.
Okay. Sorry, I shouldn't have asked that. I should have known the answer before.
Yeah, we thought about a dunk tank, but the liabilities with beer and water and all that slipping, we didn't want to go down that path.
So I hear you've got some really good, some really good beer. You got some really good brew. Matter of fact, I think Mark was just telling a story. You want to tell a quick story?
The Summer Shandy. You call it the Albatross now?
Yeah,
that one you got to be careful
it's a double
with.
IPA.
I was referring to when I first tried it, when I signed you guys up and took it home, had a couple 16 ounces. My girlfriend looks at me and says, "You all right?" And I was like, "I think I'm on my way here."
So
that's some good stuff, though.
What's your most popular brew?
Probably the Eagle IPA and the Pineapple Orange Wedge.
Oh, that sounds good. The pineapple orange wedge.
Yeah, this week we're releasing a habanero blonde. So that's
a little kick to it.
Yeah, it's got a little bite. Yeah.
Man, you know what? We got to get James. So we also now have this member, James. We call it James Bites Back. He tours all of the places, and he comes back on the show and gives a review.
We better take the bus.
Yeah, we got to actually get him an Uber or a taxi when he leaves your place.
Yeah, they're not all that strong.
Yeah, but you got to understand James. Like when he goes to a donut shop, he gets like 10. He doesn't know moderation.
Overindulges.
Yeah. Well, he's like, I got to test them all.
Oh. we love that kind of person.
I'm sure you do. So tell us about the setting in there. You said it's kind of like a cheer setting. And
yeah. It's very. I guess the best way to explain it is it's comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
We've got people that come in off the street, and next thing you know, they're giving us a review that it's a great place, great beer, great people. But we've been liking the cheers. Like I said, it's when you come in, most of the people that come in on Wednesdays and Fridays, everybody knows their name. So,
and you've been in business for 10 years, so you got over the hump of what usually kills a small business in the first few years. So congratulations to that.
Yep.
And do you want to describe, do you have any food there?
We do. We have local food trucks that come in quite often. So we utilize them. We're all about the community as well. So we try to contract with people that are local.
Which food trucks have you had there? Just
let's see. We had Back Nine Burgers last week.
They're great.
Yeah. We've got a Hawaiian vendor. The name escapes me now, but we have a Hawaiian vendor coming in doing Hawaiian barbecue for our beach party on Saturday. But we oftentimes have food trucks in there. Yep.
You should, when you do the beach party, maybe we have everybody just bring a little cup of sand.
There you go.
They can put it on their sandals, right?
Yeah. That'd be good.
I can imagine trying to bring sand in, doing that, and then trying to get it out of there.
Yeah.
Bad idea, Randy.
Well, we thought the water was a pretty bad idea, too.
Well.
But it's going to be 98 degrees there this Saturday, so who knows? A hose might come
I was going to say, just bust the hose out, right?
Yeah.
Right. That sounds like it could be fun.
Put a sprinkler in the back where you guys brew.
Yeah, there you go.
So, a lot of specialty. Any other specialty beers or mixes or specials that you have?
We have probably, let me see, we have 10 beers on tap that are pretty regular. And then we have what we call a mulligan. And those,
someone's a golfer, I see.
Yeah, well, it's a golf theme. It's funny, the story, people come in and they say, so you guys are golfers? Yeah, we're golfers, but honestly, we suck at golf.
Doesn't everybody?
Well, yeah, pretty much. But
come on, man! Like everybody's, I'm a good golfer. Full of it, man. No, we're not.
No,
we're just smacking this little white ball around, entertaining ourselves, drinking beer.
Yep. But we actually got the name because when Rick, the owner at the time, when he was brewing outside of a stovetop, he was in his backyard, and we were all there, partying up, having a few beers, and his mash started boiling, and he didn't have anything long enough to stir the mash. So his brother ran into his garage and got his wife's 3-iron, and that was the first mash paddle, and that's how we got the name 3-iron.
Right, there you go. Like, see, I was looking for a funny story, and you explained exactly how the name came about.
Yeah.
And so you're pretty close to ARMC, right? Arrowhead Regional Medical Center?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what we got to do is we got to set up an event over there, like do something after hours where everybody comes over and does a special or something.
I was just thinking about it before the show.
Yeah, so obviously we have a lot of ARMC people listening. Actually, I just went through our live shout outs, and we'll think about what we could try to put together and get over there and have a nice little event and try to coordinate what the food truck is so that we can make sure that it it's a good outing.
Right.
Anything else you'd like to cover before we wrap up this segment?
Just come on in, and the vibe is
Everybody
amazing.
knows your name.
Everybody knows your name. That's it. Everybody knows Bubba.
Can you name the 10 beers, the most 10 popular?
Probably. Right now we have the Matador, we have the Honey Wheat We have the hazy pale ale, the pineapple orange wedge.
That pineapple orange sounds.
It's pretty good. And then the Eagle, which is an IPA. We have Albatross, which is a double IPA. So those are pretty much the standard brews that we have on tap. And then, like I said, we always have some mulligans to back those up.
Well, we appreciate you coming on. We appreciate your partnership with the Teamster Advantage program. And I know I see push notifications from our app every now and then for you out there. And something we've noticed recently is that a lot of our members are using the app and they're going to these places, but they're not necessarily notifying the business of the utilization. So we're actually revamping some of our program to create a little bit more awareness of the utilization, and hopefully we can do that with this. And the other we're doing is we're having fun to where a group is kind of getting together once a month and they're landing on a location, 10, 15, 20 people, and doing like a fun review of it. So any ideas that you got, any suggestions? Again, we appreciate the relationship. We appreciate the hard work that you do in the community. Being a small business owner is tough. It's hard work. It's working class as working class gets, no different than the members we represent, which is why we've tried to build this relationship like we have, especially being in 30 chambers of commerce throughout the entire region, and encouraging everybody to occupy a collective space. Any last words before I wrap this part of the show up?
No, just come on in, show your Teamsters card, and you'll get a 10% discount.
10%, including alcohol. See, a lot of places we lose the 10% on the alcohol, but here you get the 10%.
If that doesn't draw them in, nothing
I don't
will.
Nothing will. Nothing will. If it doesn't, your whole explanation should draw them in. We've been joined by Bubba from 3 Iron Brewery right in Colton. Pretty, and obviously just did a good job of describing the establishment. Sounds like a ton of fun. Sounds like a great regular clientele in there. We appreciate you coming in. We appreciate what you do with the community. Let's take just a real quick 30-second break so I can transition, Mark, and then we will have Luca on here very, very soon. This is the Worker Power Hour with Randy Corrigan and the Teamsters 1932 Broadcast Network, live from San Bernardino. We're back. This is the Worker Power Hour with Randy Corrigan on the Teamsters 1932 Broadcast Network. Boy, I'm looking forward to having potentially having an event over there at 3 Iron Brewery. We got to make sure that we get the word out and we get more and more participants. And it's right there by ARMC. We have a ton of members that are actually going in there.
Just across the freeway over there off of Cooley and Mount Vernon.
Yeah, it's really close to them.
Their food trucks are amazing.
Yeah. I wonder which Hawaiian one they have. I'm really looking forward to that, and we got to make sure that we do a little review on it. All right, Luca Barton, the communication specialist with the San Diego Labor Council. We appreciate you coming on. Sorry I squeezed one of our Teamster Advantage partners in here. We really cherish our relationship with the small business community. I'm sure that you can appreciate that. We've had a really good time building out this massive network of all the small businesses. And really what it does is, speaking labor to labor here, is it does a good job of helping knock down the anti-union stuff going on at the chamber a lot, right? And when you're there, and not only are we in all those chambers I spoke of earlier, but we've actually either been on the board or currently on the board of directors for multiple chambers, including serving as president at some point in some of these communities. So imagine the irony in that, where a union is present in that space. And I believe we got to occupy that space for two reasons. One, education and making sure everybody understands how beneficial unions are to the local community. And two, not allowing an anti-union rhetoric, message, narrative beat us over the head, continually beat us over the head. And so with that, I got Luca Barton on, the communications specialist from the San Diego Labor Council, which has got a long history of greatness, a long history of a lot of great leaders have come out of that Labor Council to do great things, not only in San Diego, but in the broader community. Luca, you want to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about what you're working on right now? Welcome to the Worker Power Hour.
Thank you so much. I'm Luca DeSanctis Barton, pronouns he, they. And as you said, I work at the San Diego and Imperial Counties Labor Council. And so we're the local organization of the AFL-CIO, which is like the union of unions. It's an organization for unions to come together to fight for a more just democratic world with opportunity for all. And there's the national level, AFL-CIO. There's the state level, California Federation of Labor Unions. And then we're at the local level. And our purview is the San Diego and Imperial counties. So we have over 120 unions, 200,000 working families. Let's see, what are we working on? Well, we're working towards this August 19th nonviolent direct action training. So as we've seen ICE arresting our fellow workers, like Unite Here Local 30 workers in the parking lot after they've gone on a long shift of work. We want to make sure that all of our union members and community members are trained and prepared in like civil rights, civil disobedience, because we gotta do something. We gotta organize and build collective power so that we can mold this world again towards a more democratic one. So we got that coming up, and then Labor Day, September 1st, we have a big Labor Day march that our president, Bridget Browning, is putting together with a lot of indivisible local groups and No Kings. And there should be tens of thousands of people at that march. And we're figuring out what to do. Bridget's talked about maybe doing something with a general strike. She wants to do like in 2026, but we're not sure. Maybe that's too soon.
Never too soon.
We got to do something.
Yes,
so we're trying to figure it out together.
Hey, I heard you just swung the balance of power in a local supervisors race, with the board of supervisors for San Diego County, right?
Yeah. We just had a huge win. So
talk about that win real quick, and I want to talk about why it's important.
Of course. So the San Diego County supervisors are 5 people who control over $8 billion for the county. And so we had formally endorsed this candidate in District 1 who won handily last November. And then she decided to not continue her second term. So it opened up this vacancy. And we have this incredible candidate who's now supervisor, Paloma Aguirre, who has just been busting her butt her whole entire life for communities, for workers. And we were able to come together to get her in. And for me, it totally makes sense why that happened. But early on, our president, Bridget Browning, and Mark, our political director, and a lot were getting phone calls from people in unions as well as the Democratic Party being like, we don't think Paloma can make it. But the way that she's been fighting for unions, for workers on issues that are important to them and bringing a lot of people together totally made sense why she won.
Yeah, congratulations on that. And let me just shift gears back to the comment you made as far as a general strike is concerned. You know, one of the things I've been cautioning those in labor, not that I'm an expert. I mean, I have been an organizer for over 30 years. I am a longtime organizer, first-time radio host. So this radio stuff is just getting message out. It's not my full-time gig. Organizing workers is something I have always loved to do, always will do. And that agitation, education, and movement that we're trying to build, you know, we've got this new slogan we just trying to capture, which is bringing the movement to the mic. And I think that's one of the things in which laborers, we've missed the boat on. We've not brought our movement to the mic to where we can get to enough people, which is, again, why we're doing this. My point is, on a general strike, we can't control that date. In other words, we can't say, hey, we want to do March of 2026 or June of 2026. For general strikes, if we look back in history and we recognize when they happen, there are things that sparked them that then moved into other pieces. But workers had to know they had the right to withhold their labor first. And I think that one of the things that we got to do is we just got to educate on a massive scale. You have a First Amendment right to withhold your labor, the freedom to assemble, the freedom of speech. Were the arguments won to create concerted activity, protected concerted activity in 1934 and 1935 under the Wagner Act, which ultimately became the National Labor Relations Act. My point to bringing this up is that we have kind of forgotten, and we've at least forgotten to educate the population that you have the freedom to assemble. You have freedom of speech, that you don't lose it when you go to work like you did prior to 1934. That technically under the law prior to 1934, you lost those rights. And that the argument that won on the floor of Congress was utilizing that workers didn't have the right to assemble, the right to freedom of speech at work, which is where protected concerted activity was born and then enshrined in every law. We haven't pounded that message enough for workers to know that they can withhold their labor. So again,
I think that should be
Yep.
that should be taught in schools.
That's right.
That should be public education. So much of our world involves power, but we don't teach power in the schools, and we definitely don't teach about collective worker power or collective community and worker power, which is unions and community groups and organizing. Like I think you should really be teaching how to organize and exactly the rights that you're talking about, and how do you unionize, how do you organize. Like that's real important stuff, and letting us know like this is top-down power, which has these kind of which is more autocratic, more dictatorial, and probably not so good for society, the economy. And this is bottom-up power, and this is like this kind of thing. But that's critical information that we should absolutely be teaching.
Yeah, the more we take to the airwaves, the more we have billboards, the more we have buses, or however we're pounding this message into the general public. Labor's got to lead this message. In other words, saying, "Hey, workers, like you have the right to do this, and here's where those rights were won, and they don't do any good unless you actually exercise them. So start to exercise them. You can exercise them on a smaller scale. You don't have to do your first test to be walking off the job for a month, right? However, but you can if you choose to. And the reality is collective action is going to swing this stuff back that we're dealing with in America, where corporations have obviously overstepped, have reached too far in. The only counterbalance that has really kept them in check in the last nearly 100 years has been collective action and the withholding our labor. And we've got to lead that and lead that message, lead that narrative, press into that space, educate, like you said, in school. Explain to kids before they get into the workforce. Here's the difference between a union job and a non-union job, and why being in a union job has got a better future, why it's got this and that. And then on top of it, this is your right to protected concerted activity. Clearly, it's been pulled out of school, not taught in school, because corporate America, again, controls those textbooks. My son, who graduated from Carlsbad High, which is obviously in San Diego County, they call us a cartel. That's how they educated on unions in his book. We're a cartel. Like,
that's so sad.
That's where we are, and we got to go to that school board meeting. We got to press back and say, no, I'm not the cartel. I'm a union worker that makes sure that this community does this, or we deliver this, or we pick up your trash, or whatever it is. We're not the cartel. Why are you describing us that way? We have to be engaged in our civic process to make it happen.
Yeah, and there are all these myths out there that just help the wealthy, and now we have so many billionaires out there because the wealth just keeps getting more and more rigged, whether under a Democratic or Republican administration. Either one, it keeps more. Obviously, it accelerates more under Republicans. They tend to put, but it happens under Democrats too, and it kind of goes from this more New Deal America where we thought, government can be a place of good, and it can help workers and it can help communities. And we're going to put money towards that so that everyone prospers. And then it started as unions started getting cut down, starting in 1947 with the Taft-Hartley Act, but so many policies since then. And this philosophy, neoliberalism, which is just unregulated capitalism, just keeps being pushed by the elites, and we're in a place now where we have little power, and just the wealth keeps going to less and less hands and concentration. So, but unions are at their highest popularity in decades, like since the New Deal era. 70% of people are for it, and so we need to get that, as you're saying, that message out there that collectively you have the power, democratic power, to make your workplace better. But also, you're not just a worker, you're a community member, and you can make your community better when you come together.
That's right. These narratives, like you said, that the corporate America controls, one of them is that we're anti-capitalist. Like, first of all, look, America is a capitalist society. It needs a social conscience. There's nothing wrong with capitalism as long as it's got a social conscience with it, as long as there's social responsibility. That's the proper balance. We're not going to change how all this works until corporate America has a little more empathy and shares the wealth a little bit more. Again, workers are at the center of whether or not we are successful at making that happen. And you're right, we can complain about this and that, and they're doing this and they're doing that, and we're not doing that. Like, the reality is we got to get to work. We got to educate workers. We got to agitate them. We got to encourage them into this space, and we got to lead them in this moment where we say, look, it's time to withhold our labor. It's time. Now, I can't tell you the date on the calendar. You tell me when your workplace is ready. You tell me when your area, your community is ready. You tell me when your industry is ready. When you're ready to hold your industry accountable, let's go. You have the power to shut it down. And you have the right, not just the power, you have the right. It's always funny that unions get criticized for violence and this and that. And, this country was formed on a protest. It was formed on the Boston Tea Party, which destroyed tea. It broke something. They destroyed something. And we celebrate that, but then we turn around and say, well, unions, they destroy things. No, it's a protest. No one's saying that someone's got to go out and be violent or break something. That's not what I'm implying here. But it's convenient for a narrative that corporate America wants to put out there, right? Like, if we're proud of that moment of the Boston Tea Party, then guess what? We need to lean into it now, and we need to tell an employer, hey, it's no different than what the British did to us with the tea. You're taking too much, man. What's up?
Too often people from the working class, they put down their own, and so they'll make those excuses, and maybe they'll see some violence. Sometimes it happens, right, at collective actions, but that's just a symptom of, as you're saying, these billionaires, these wealthy people, these corporations, greedy corporations, all of their policies, not paying workers enough so that they can eat. And then also we have people like with this one big beautiful bill slashing healthcare for those workers who are making minimum wage, who need that healthcare, and cutting food stamps for workers who are making that minimum wage. And we're just subsidizing these corporations, and again, just sending all of our money to fewer hands.
Right. It's funny. These huge corporations talk so much smack about bigger government, about, oh, the government. They love the government when they're getting $1 million an hour and I'm not even exaggerating here, right? Like there's one individual, I'm not going to say his name here, that likes to, put rockets in the sky. Like the amount of money that he gets, that his companies get in government subsidies, in tax dollars from the government. Like, you love the government, but you run around talking about how bad the government is. To him, the government's bad unless they're giving him money. Like, and villainize anybody else, someone who's working hard, working 2 jobs, and qualifies for food stamps. Like, oh, those are people that are leeching off society? No, those that are leeching off society are those ones that are getting billions of dollars every single year, pulling it out of our local economy, and then turn around and trying to villainize the very people that are doing all the work, that are working hard. Like, I'd love to see these individuals I'm talking about go work as a farm worker. I want to see them try to do it for a week and watch how they, how those conditions. You want hard work? Go to work on one of these warehouses. Go to work for one of these huge corporations, one of your own corporations that are exploiting workers. I'm sorry, I'm going to get on a tangent here if I don't correct myself. I'm assuming you agree with what I'm saying.
Absolutely. All work is skilled and has dignity. Right. And if it's worth having that job, then it's worth paying at least a living wage. And I would say a thriving wage.
A wage to buy a home.
Period.
A wage to buy a home. Like, where has that been lost? Like, like what I'm inspired by is these Amazon workers. I'm watching Amazon workers withhold their labor, take on one of the biggest corporations in the world. Looking them dead in the face. Just a week and a half ago, you saw a group of them here in industry demand, do a demand on the boss, demand that they be recognized, demand that they bargain, and they've joined dozens of others of other units doing the same thing. There's dozens more coming. Workers are starting to, hey, you're supposed to do this, and they have the right to demand that. And seeing the courage in them, it's so inspiring, because they look around and then they realize they kind of have control of their workplace, and they go, oh yeah, this will work. Like, and then they reap the benefits from it. They get a little, then the boss throws a little change at them, and gives them some fans and makes it a little less bad as far as on the heat's concerned. They start to try to accommodate some of those requests, but they're building power by doing that. And so I'm inspired, because I can see that workers are doing it when they know what to do. We just got to get a little bit more out front, where we're agitating and being more aggressive. I'll give you another example. TSA, like when they stripped that away, what we should have done is just taken a position in the labor movement. We did have someone from their union on here right after that happened. Just don't go to work then. You're going to strip away my bargaining rights. Same thing with Utah. Like in Utah, when they took a position to take away their bargaining rights, had all the police officers and firefighters and public employees just said, we're not going to work on Monday then. Sorry, don't know what to tell you. We're not going to work till you fix it. You know as well as I do, they would have fixed it that fast.
Yeah. And absolutely, like with the Teamsters, I see those videos. Teamsters is really good at putting up on the social media videos of marching on the boss and asserting their rights. And that spreads. Like here in San Diego, we had NUHW healthcare workers. They were on the longest mental health care strike in history for 6 months on an open-ended strike. And they went down to their local Starbucks to get coffee, and they would talk with the workers there and talk about their strike. And then that Starbucks became organized and then unionized and became our 5th in the San Diego County Starbucks that's unionized. So it spreads. And it's beautiful to see those things where people understand their rights and they're like, wait, we can do this? It's like, yeah, you can. So we just need to keep spreading that word out there and getting it out there.
And in a lot of cases, what do they got to lose? Some of these jobs are so bad. Like we found at Amazon that within a few days, statistically, more than 70% of workers are actually looking for another job within the first week. They're already looking somewhere else. So if you're already looking to go somewhere else, then you know this situation's bad. And there's this crazy statistic with Amazon that I've been pounding this message. If you're a UPS driver and you're delivering in neighborhoods, you can probably buy a home in almost any neighborhood you're delivering in. Not everyone, but almost everyone. An Amazon driver cannot buy a home in America. They can't in any neighborhood. The amount that they're paid does not qualify them to buy. And I would love for someone to prove me wrong on this statistic. Find me the neighborhood that they can afford to buy a home in, and come on the show and tell me how I'm wrong. My point is Amazon or corporate America is gotten to this point where they just don't even recognize the right thing to do anymore. And we as workers have got to shut it down to get them to recognize it.
Yeah. And it's, again, like over this, from the New Deal to unregulated capitalism, it's this financialization of everything. Everything, including humans, can be commodified, and corporations will kill you as long as they can make billions of dollars. We saw that with, we see that with Boeing. We see that with Amazon. They don't care about their drivers. They're like one of the most profitable companies in the world, and yet they're not going to give a living wage. And I even, as I'm sure you know, that whenever an Amazon warehouse comes to a place, it actually lowers the wages for
that industry.
For that industry around that area, which is terrible.
And they become a huge drain on the public services. They become a huge drain, is actually a net negative for a particular area on whatever they profess that they're contributing, that the amount that's being pulled out in government subsidies and what everybody qualifies for that has to work there.
Our local taxpayer dollars are going to support these people that are being underpaid instead of going to our infrastructure, instead of going to housing, instead of going to all these youth programs.
Right. San Diego is a great example. San Diego County. Let's just take the whole county as a whole. I mean, it's a beautiful place. It's obviously kind of expensive to live there. So find me anywhere in San Diego County that an Amazon employee can buy a home. Anywhere in the county.
Yeah.
Not just Amazon driver, an Amazon employee. Like, okay, maybe someone who works in management that's making $150,000, $200,000 a year, but not a worker.
No, I mean, they're living with multiple roommates, or maybe living with home if their parents live around here. Another thing that we're working on is a hospitality $25 an hour minimum wage at the city of San Diego. And so the city of San Diego, a living wage is $30.71 an hour by the MIT living wage calculator. But the minimum wage in the city of San Diego is about $18. And so it's nowhere close to that living wage, and not even to mention like a thriving wage. So we're fighting and we're targeting that industry, the tourism industry and the hospitality industry, because it's a huge industry with corporations, multinational corporations like Hyatt, who make billions of dollars, and then they don't pay their workers enough. And so we're being strategic in targeting this industry that can afford to pay their workers. They can afford to pay them more than $25 an hour minimum wage. They could do $30.71, but we're looking to raise it to that $25, and it's coming up in September to the full city council. And it's been great to see the community and unions, even unions who aren't directly affected by this, come and support their fellow IATSE workers, hotel workers, concession workers, AV stagehand workers, to do that. And hopefully we can make it a little bit more affordable around here.
So we're going to appreciate you coming on the show. Got a few more minutes here. I just want to shift gears real quick. You're the comms specialist there in labor at the Labor Council, right? So what do you think of little Teamsters 1932 here in San Bernardino with our comms platform, with the radio show? And I don't know if you heard, we now have our own 24/7 radio where you can listen to music, and we're going to be building on that platform where we're connecting our members to be able to actually listen to music 24/7. We'll be able to tie in, go live at any time that we want to go live, or tie in our shows, or tie in news, tie in, you know, little snippets, little advertisements and stuff like that, that obviously have to do with members. And you know, I believe that the more we lean into this space, and we're finding great success as a result of leaning into this space. I always like to hear from other advocates in labor. What do you think of what we're doing in this space?
I love to see it, because this is absolutely what we need to be thinking. How can we reach the masses, which is a massive goal, but how can we do that? And radio is part of that. I remember hearing like far right elitist individuals, like they had a whole program to train people on how to speak their talking points on AM radio. That was decades ago. And so they created, you know, AM radio had just a lot of far right people that were, you know, talking a lot of stuff that divided the working class. And so we need to get on AM radio. We need to get onto these places that people are going to listen in and create these pro-union, pro-worker, pro-community first media outlets. So I think it's wonderful. And you guys have an app for the local businesses, which, you know, spending money locally, it just helps create an engine for the local economy, instead of the dollars going to some multinational somewhere else that is then going to fire people and send jobs elsewhere, just cut them and put AI in.
Oh, I love when some elected officials try to attack us in the area. We always show up at their chamber. Boom. Like, and we actually had been there, right? And then we start to push back on them and go, what are you talking about? We're doing all this for free. We're not even the chamber charges. We're not charging these small businesses. We're connecting them to tens of thousands of our households in the region, encouraging people that, like, this is what unions are doing. Don't be villainizing us. And to your point a minute ago, we're building out a platform to where we're good. Hey, we hope that other unions do podcasts, do shows. You know, what I have a dream of someday is that there's a station that's 100% labor 100% of the time, and that if you want to tune into what's going on from IBEW or AFSCME or some other union, or the Teamsters or whatever, you know, obviously we do a lot of things that are Teamster centric, not everything Teamster centric, but you know, hear all this and have a platform that's 100% labor 100% of the time. We're building that out right here, and we invite every labor organization to participate in it and help make this grow to exactly what you just said, so that when people do want to tune into labor and they want to learn and they want to understand, and instead of them hearing some wacko that's, you know, blabbering about all the time, that they can actually listen to information that's going to impact their job, impact the way they're going to be able to feed their family, buy a home, and build worker power in the end. That's what I believe that we're trying to do, and hopefully you can help us keep building that network out, my brother.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much. It's aspirational for sure.
It's crazy. Somebody told me when I started to unpack it, like, are you nuts? Yeah, pretty much. Like, those of us that get involved in labor, like we pick crazy fights sometimes, right? Yeah, I'm nuts. Let's go. Like
let's get it.
Yeah, let's go get it. Like you can't make great things happen by, you know, kind of being, you know, kind of lethargic about it, or making excuses, or not at least thinking big. You know, the reality is we've got to make something happen. And I'm to be honest with you, I'm having a great time with this radio show. I feel like I'm you know, it's not like the self-grandizing platform. For me, I feel like I'm in this long house call where I keep getting to go back and educate workers on their next step to do something great, crazy, you know, inspirational, or whatever it may be. And it's a platform that is obviously growing. And I don't know if you heard today, we even got some people from Scotland that are listening in. I just got a text on the screen over here. But, you know, we're just having fun with it, because it's all about moving people into a good place. And, you know, when you're bringing the movement to the mic, you're doing something right.
Heck yeah, brother.
Anything you want to close on?
No, I mean, you can find us on our website, unionyes.org, and social media, SDIC Labor Council. And then you can join our actions, events on our website. You can sign up for our action emails, and then hopefully we'll see you out there on a strike line or another solidarity event.
Can you tell me the event you have on Labor Day one more time before we close out this segment?
Yeah, of course. Labor Day March with No Kings, a bunch of indivisible groups. So we're putting that together. We want it to be a little different from other marches, so we're trying to figure that out. There's going to be tens of thousands of people meeting at Waterfront Park at 10 a.m. And yeah, it's going to be solidarity. There's probably going to be some singing, like "Whose Side Are You On?" And it's going to be worker power. So
that's right. We're building worker power, one conversation at a time.
That's right.
Luca Barton, appreciate you coming on, communication specialist with the San Diego Labor Council. Really appreciate you, San Diego Imperial County's Labor Council. You guys merged a few years back. In my brain, I remember Jerry being there, so it gives you an idea of how far I go back. I've been organizing for over 30 years, so I've kind of been in this space, and sometimes I don't get caught up with branding it correctly. But Luca, really appreciate you coming on, spending time with us today. I got to get into some news to close out my show. Please share our link, share the news on what we're doing, and you know, if we could help expand this in a way where we help other unions or other local unions participate. We've got a place to take their podcasts, park them, you know, just buying a little bit of airtime. It's really easy. We're not making any money on that. We obviously, airtime just costs money with the radio station. So, you know, podcasts can be very easily converted into fitting into airtime. And hopefully, you know, this is the beginning of more unions doing exactly what you and I are agreeing that we need to do. Thanks for coming on.
All right. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, this is the Worker Power Hour with Randy Corrigan, and I'm not going to go to a break, Mark. I'm just going to shift into the news. I never got to the news from the earlier part. I kind of got rolling on a bunch of stuff, so let me see if I can't actually make sure I cover all of it. I think that the one thing I overlooked is our victories within the local union. Let me give some of that. We were able to stop. So here at 1932, we've got a lot of you know, we got a lot of good things happening all the time. We got a staff here that's constantly pushing back on the employer. Yeah, you're making noise over there, Robert. We got a staff here that's constantly pushing back on the employer or resolving issues, resolving grievances, negotiating contracts, getting things done. And what happens is sometimes in the hustle and bustle of that, we sometimes miss the mark at explaining it. And so I'd like to go through and give some quick updates on stuff that's going on. We were able to stop an administrator who thought they could mandate extra shifts on their staff, challenge that position on the subject, and as a result, any extra shifts were all voluntary, not mandatory. That had to go into a voluntary status, not a mandatory status. Loma Linda, the productive negotiations, the negotiations have been productive so far, and they're preparing for a contract vote next week. There's an employer that we had that withdrew an investigation. We had another employer that tried to terminate someone, got that reduced to a suspension. We had a suspension get from 10 days reduced down to 5 days. We have strong members in attendance at the city council meeting in Rialto, Chino, and Fontana. And we also have, during a site visit with a business agent last Thursday, a member's air conditioning went out in their truck, and the dealer wanted between $1,500 and $2,000 to repair it. Prior to leaving the city, the BA stopped by the Teamster Advantage partner, Gray Yeager, at the filter change and asked him if he could help. 2 hours later, the member called and said that they took care of her truck by the filter change and saved her $800. She was extremely good. I love those stories. That's a Teamster partner, you know, member, having a financial struggle, business agent connecting to a Teamster Advantage partner stepping up, giving them a discount. That's great stuff. Also, Stewart took the reins on their first representation with a fellow member and was successful at reducing a written warning. So there's a lot more here. I got to get into the news. I just wanted to give you a little quick round robin what's going on in the local itself. In Worker Power Hour news, all major Las Vegas Strip casinos are now unionized in historic labor victory. The historic deals finalized late last year mark a major turning point. For the first time in the Culinary Union's 90-year history, all major casinos on the Strip are unionized, backed by 60,000 members, most of them in Las Vegas. It is the largest labor union in Nevada. Experts say the Culinary's union success is a notable exception in the national landscape where union membership overall has been declining. Together, we've shown that change can be a positive force, and I'm confident that this partnership will continue to benefit us all in the years to come. Patrick Nicholas, president and CEO of the Venetian, who said shortly after workers approved the deal. And they just recently organized them and got a deal. Venetian was anti-union for a very long time, so it's good to see they've been leveraged into a position where they're being productive and cooperative. Union members say their new contract has already reshaped their day-to-day life. The housekeeper no longer races against the clock to clean an unmanageable number of hotel suites, and they're spending more quality time with their children because of better pay and guaranteed days off. 3,200 Boeing workers who build fighter jets are on strike, their union says. About 3,200 workers at a Boeing facility in St. Louis, St. Charles, Missouri, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce this, in Illinois, voted to reject a modified 4-year labor agreement with Boeing, the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers said on Sunday. In an ex-post, the union said 3,200 highly skilled IAM union members at Boeing went on strike at midnight because enough is enough. This is about respect and dignity, not empty promises. IAM District 837 members deserve a contract that reflects their skill, dedication, and critical role they play in our nation's defense. Yeah, think about that. In our nation's defense, District 837 head Tom Bowling said in a statement. In IBT news, workers at Open Kitchen joined the Teamsters. More than 40 drivers and helpers at Open Kitchen in Chicago have voted to join Teamsters 703. The group organized to demand better pay, stronger benefits, and safer, more respectful working conditions. We voted to become Teamsters because we're tired of being pushed around, end quote, said Shema Johnson, a driver at Open Kitchen and new member of Local 703. This is about dignity. With a union, we finally have a real voice on the job and the power to fight for a fair contract. Boise Cascade is on strike. This week, members of Teamsters Local 190 officially went on strike against a building materials distributor, Boise Cascade, demanding fair wage increases and improved health care benefits after months of stalled contract negotiations. The 20 workers at Boise Cascade's Billing, Montana facility walked off the job early Tuesday evening, citing management's refusal to offer a fair contract. The strike follows a breakdown in talks after the company failed to address workers' concern over stagnant pay and inadequate health care coverage. Teamsters Local 190 has been engaged in contract negotiations with Boise Cascade for several months. Despite efforts to reach a fair agreement, the company has not made a serious offer that addresses core Teamster issues, forcing workers to strike until a fair deal is reached. And in Teamsters Local 1932 news, Confire kicked off bargaining last week. And so just see our social media highlights and, check out all of our platforms. We got a few of them, right, Robert? Isn't that what we got going on around here? Robert, I got to tell you, you're doing a great job on the comm stuff. Really, we lost our logo back here. I know we just got about a couple minutes here. Yeah, great job, Robert. Really, I like how you're doing the little clips, teasing people into the show. You like how I challenged Luca down there. Hey, man, can you get some people to do the same thing? I think that's what we got to do. I think we got to occupy the space in a way that we say, hey, man, when are you going to do this? Like if we want the people to follow us, if we want the general public to follow us, obviously the majority of our show is meant to be directed at our members. However, we try to build the content that anybody can listen to because we want our members to be able to use this content to where they can agitate workers to build worker power themselves, not just be selfish for our own utilization. Anybody can have worker power. And how are we building worker power in the Inland Empire? We're building it. We got billboards and we've got buses, and we've got this radio show and our Teamster Advantage program. And, you know, now we have this radio station that's 24/7 music. I'm getting a lot of texts where people like the music, like the great job, Mark, on loading in the music that people are liking and listening to. You going to say something, Mark? You only got a minute, so be quiet.
We're still loading, so requests are appreciated.
Yeah, requests. You want to send in some requests. You want to highlight somebody. We believe there's so many opportunities for us to utilize this platform with the 24/7. Now, think about it in the future. We got a big contract coming up, or you got your contract coming up. We could do a live update on the air where we send out a push notification. You link over to that radio station. We jump on the mics real quick, and we just give an update of where everything is. You got a strike going on. We could be out there at the strike, and we could do a live broadcast from the strike and encourage people to come out. We're really excited about this. Obviously, it doesn't mean anything if you're not utilizing it. So we're building worker power in the Inland Empire, and we're building it, by making sure we talk to our friends, we talk to our family, we talk to our neighbors, and we educate them on building worker power. And how do we do that? We explain to them that they got the right to withhold their labor. They got the right to organize. They got the right to have a collective bargaining agreement. They have the right to be in a union. This is not something, over 70% of workers today support unions, and yet only 10% are. And it's not because of our failure. It's because of two things. One, corporate America has skewed the rules to be in their favor. Two, not enough workers have exercised their rights. And we're agitating workers to exercise worker power now and every day. This is the Worker Power Hour with Randy Corrigan on the Teamsters 1932 Broadcast Network, airing live from San Bernardino. See you next week. Take it away, Mark.